Let's go ahead and start that over again. I'm your host, Javon, and this is Artist Over Actor. And today we're going to be talking about how you can stay active in our current industry. As you know, right now, the writers are currently on strike, and we're actually getting set up to potentially see an actor's strike as well as a writer's strike. Right now, they are in the process of voting to authorize a strike going forward next month if they do not reach an agreement. So, how do you navigate this time? I mean, it's a really tricky time. There's not as much work as we're used to. We still want to be working actors. How do we possibly navigate this time? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I got a couple of tips to help you stay a working actor and keep getting that money so that you can live your life doing what you love. So, thank you for letting me take this break last week. Last week was exhausting. Was feeling kind of sick and overtraining. A lot of you don't know I'm actually training because one of my side quests, as you can say it from being a voice actor, is I want to do at least one action slash superhero film by the end of the year. And last week was a heavy overtrain, pushed myself way too far. So I was like wrecked for a couple of days. But really good to be back. Really good to learn that lesson so that now I can be back and get back into my training regimen. So let's get into this. How do we actually stay busy and how do we actually keep making that money during this time? Number one, relationships with your past clients. Oh, snap. That would be dope. Yep, that's the goal. The professional goals are I want to voice act in one animation, one anime, and I want to be in one, preferably a superhero movie, but just one action movie. So I've been doing a lot of training over the past 6 months. That's why I shed the 65 pounds and I'm on track to first shed the 65 pounds, second start putting on the muscle. So I'm in the muscle stage, and that's where the overtraining came. I haven't weightlifted in a while. It's been a lot of cardio, been a lot of watching what I eat, modifying my diet. So when you go back into weightlifting and stuff, yeah, things get hectic real quick. Relationships with your past clients. Your past clients are going to be your biggest assets. Have you been in any cartoons? A lot of indie cartoons I've been in, a ton of indie cartoons. So, oh God, where can you potentially find me? So, commercials have been really the thing keeping me going. And that's going to be one of the things to learn to stay busy. So, actually, that's a perfect vein. So, let's go in there. How to stay busy, leverage commercials. Commercials never stop. Ads never stop. You go on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you see the ads keep rolling. And the ads are going to keep rolling. So when you get into this economic turmoil, this downturn, when it comes to writers going on strike, your actors potentially going on strike, and you're a voice actor and you're thinking, how do I possibly stay in this industry? What can I do in order to make money? What isn't being that affected? It's going to be commercials. It's going to be ads. These companies have to keep pumping out content. It's going to be user generated content. A lot of user generated content is very famous right now because I mean, we're in that TikTok era, we're in that shorts era. So user generated content, that is nice. That's quick. That's something you can do on your phone. Yes, it takes your voice or it takes your face in some cases, but that's something that you can do on your phone. And it's something that you can do relatively quickly with acting and still get paid a lot of money. That's the thing that's blowing up right now. So a little bit of a tidbit. As far as cartoons and animation, that's where you're going to feel the biggest downturn and the biggest turmoil. And as far as cartoons that it's been in a lot of kids' cartoons, typically the age demographic being 6 and under. And then some prelay cartoons that are being pitched to networks. So I've been in some stuff. Right now, it's mostly video games that I've actually been in. I've been in a game from Two Horizons, Hotel Renovator. I've been in Free Run, which is an amazing parkour running game. But cartoons is still that's still the angle. That's still the goal. We gonna wait and see for the end of this year what cartoons and what animation I actually land in. So leveraging commercials and leveraging user-generated content, that's an amazing way to stay busy this year, especially during this type of, economic downturn when it comes to actors. And one of the favorite quotes that I've really ever heard was it was from I think it was a business owner during the last recession, and, they were interviewing him because his business was booming during this recession, and everyone was like, "What are you doing? How is this possibly happening?" And he was like, "Oh, is there a recession? I hadn't noticed." It's the same with right now in our industry. Yes, there is an economic downturn. However, that just provides opportunities for you to capture more attention. Yes, there's less things being generated because there's a writer's strike. Yes, there are less opportunities. However, that brings me over to the second spot. And don't worry, Transformers, I will get back and I will answer that question. But that brings me over to the second spot, which is self creation. Right now, there's a void, right? Right now, there's a gap. Writers are on strike. Things are going to get very, very shitty when it comes to content, professional caliber content. I mean, you can see, look at Heroes. Heroes was my favorite show growing up. I used to sit down with my mama and we used to sit down and watch Heroes. And right around season, I think it was, I forget which season, I think it was like 6 or 7. Oh my god, it got bad. Like, it got terrible. Like, my mom and I sat down and we were just like, "We don't physically know what's going on, but, like, this show is terrible." It went from amazing to awful in 1 season, and that's because then that season came out during the writer's strike. I loved Heroes, that was my show, and then during the writer's strike, they dropped another season, and that was the worst season, and then it got canceled after that. But that's what we're going to start seeing. We're gonna start seeing a lot of our shows who don't have the writers on set, that quality is gonna take a nosedive. I mean, the same can be, said with, Amazon's, Rings of Power. Regardless of what you think about Rings of Power, the writers are currently on strike, and they said that they're gonna keep forging ahead with the production of that show. So I'm very interested to see what it turns out to be when it drops because they're doing it without the writers. They're just gonna keep forging ahead. But that's the gap in the industry. Right now, it's time for self creation. Right now, it's time for you to put out the stuff that you have to voice act in the projects that you want to, even if it's just your voice and a concept piece going out there. Because right now there is a void, a gap that needs to be filled. And right now, companies are looking for stuff because of the fact that the writers are currently on strike and potentially the actors might be going on strike. Yes, this makes it so that there are less opportunities at the high end of the industry. However, it makes it so that there's a void that needs to be filled with content that needs to be created. And I'm not a fan of the term content. It makes it so that there is a void of entertainment that needs to be filled. Now, where did you go to audition for your first VA job? Did you have to email whatever studio to audition? No. So I started in the path of online audition. So this was I worked with pretty much every online VA website that you can possibly think of. Profiles on Fiverr, on Voice Bunny, on Voices, on VO Planet, on Voquent, on Baldango, on every single voice acting website that you can think of. And I actually have a podcast about this as well, my process of getting my first gig. And what I essentially did was I created a whole bunch of samples in a closet just like this. It was just me, my trusty little microphone. I wrote a bunch of scripts in a handy dandy notebook and I just voiced them. I put all of these samples online on these websites and then people come to you. So it attracts people, or not it attracts, but your online profile is then sent out to a bunch of people. Aside from that, I have cold contacted some studios that I've been fortunate enough to work with, and then my body of work outside, as in social media, has allowed people to find me organically and then come to me. That's how I was actually contacted to do a prelay animation for a pilot pitch that's actually being pitched to networks. I think if not this year than next year. So it's just about getting your social media up so that people can find you and then putting your name out there on these websites. Which nicely brings us to the third point, which is make sure that you're updating. If you are working with Either if you're working with an agency and you need to update your portfolio, your body of work, or you're working with any of these online websites, you need to be updating your actual portfolio. You need to update your body of work. You need to stay current and stay relevant. I always like to say this, right? As human beings, we hate ads. We absolutely can't stand ads. We just want to watch what we actually put on. As actors and voice actors, that's your homework. Every time you hear an ad playing, you need to be actively listening to see the sound that was actually gotten for that ad. You need to be actually sitting down and listening to all of these ads so that you can hear what's current. Because let me tell you, what now wasn't what was current 6 months ago. And that's the issue. A lot of us audition on what was an outdated type of sound. Like a lot of us still use the frame of reference of, oh, I'm doing this commercial. So that means if I'm doing a commercial for a notebook, I should sound like I know everything about this notebook. This is the PVC notebook. This notebook is absolutely amazing. It can make sure that you get all of your ideas out there into the world. The PVC notebook, made for you. But that is an actual outdated sound. A lot of the time, people are looking for a commercial, friendly, down to earth. Huh, this is the PVC notebook. A lot of the time, this can help you get your ideas out to the world. The PVC notebook, it's the one for you. People are looking for a more straightforward, attractive, down to earth type of sound, but we wouldn't know this if we don't listen to commercials. So make sure you update your samples so that they stay relative and competitive, so that when people find you, you sound like the sound that they are actually actively looking for. Okay, next, not last but not least, next, you need to be taking classes, right? Taking classes, learning skills. Why do I say this? I found a lot of my mentors, a lot of the people who have helped teach me about this industry and about living life as a voice actor by taking classes with people. So I take classes with Lisa Lee. She is absolutely phenomenal. Lisa is the GOAT. She is amazing. She is my mentor. She's my one on one professor, and I highly recommend going to her and just asking questions, taking classes with her, learning from her. She is absolutely phenomenal. I've also taken classes with Ariana Ratner. She is wonderful. Just the amount of redirection that she gives you, the amount of insider information and just knowledge that she has about the industry is amazing. And both of these connections, taking classes with both of these people, have led to me joining onto rosters and learning how to best set myself up for success in this industry. So, yes, I know things are going down and jobs can be harder to be found, which makes it seem like, oh, I need to save money. I need to not or to pull back on this spending. But taking classes can actively help get you out there and get your name out there and get your voice out there. The time these classes are taught by casting directors, they're taught by people who are inside the industry, they're taught by directors, they're taught by producers, they're taught by people who actually can get you a job. And if you go in there and blow it out of the water, like you go in there and they give you a character and a line and you portray it and you become it and you just kick ass. Well, they didn't know who you were. Now they do. They might have a project that they're going for. They know who you are. They know that you killed it. They know that you did a good job. They might ask you to audition. It's as simple as that. And this happens every day. This isn't like some hyperbole. This isn't like, oh, this happens once in a blue moon, once in a shooting star. No, this happens all of the time because people are always looking for the next talent. They're always looking for their next character. So just keep that in mind. Make sure that you're actively taking classes so that you can stay relevant in the minds of people. Also, make sure to ask mentors and your fellow voice actors, right? If a fellow voice actor is in a project and they express a need for more characters, whether that be main characters, lead characters, side characters, it doesn't really matter. Make sure to ask. If you don't ask, you won't get an answer. It's as simple as saying, "Hey, I'm looking for extra work. Does anybody know if there is a production um, that needs any voice actor, that needs an actor?" Right? And then you'll get an answer. If the answer is no, then the answer is no. If the answer is yes, congratulations. You can audition, you can reach out to them, and you also have a cold or a warm kind of in with them. So you can simply say, "Hey, I got your information from da da da, who is actually on your production, and they said that you need extra voices. I would love to audition to be a part of it." And then you're not just some cold random person. You actually have a little bit of an in with them. Stay on Twitter. Twitter is actually a great place to find gigs. You can find bad ones, but you can also find really good ones, just like Kato said. A couple of good places where I got some of my animation gigs starting off were doing auditions with websites like Casting Call Club and Twitter, actually. That is 100% correct. And I've chatted with Buford from Casting Call Club before. He's a really great guy. It's a really great platform. Buford specifically states that Casting Call Club, the intention of it was to find paid gigs, yes, but to practice. It was to meet your next director. It was to meet your next big voice actor for another big project. And the point of Casting Call Club was a creation of a platform where voice actors can get together and they can just act together. They can create little things so that they can start putting the building blocks together to create a big thing one day. So Casting Call Club is amazing when it comes to finding animation gigs because that's what it's predicated on. That's what it's built on. And Twitter is actually amazing. There are a lot of profiles that you can follow, and all they do is retweet casting calls. I believe it's actually called Casting Call RT, Casting Call Retweet. All they do is retweet casting calls, and they're mainly for animation. And what I love about them is that they state specifically to accept the industry rate for gigs. Accept the industry rate for gigs when it comes to working on Twitter and when it comes to them retweeting gigs. They specifically say, hey, make sure to say whether this is an unpaid or paid gig. And if you're auditioning for this, try your best to say what the industry rate is, which is my point. Stay on rate. A lot of the times, what we're facing right now with the writer's strike and with the actor's strike is they are collectively fighting in order to get paid the fair rate for their work. And what I feel like is sad with the voice acting industry is we have kind of sort of a little bit missed that opportunity in order to have that collective bargaining power, in the sense of a lot of the time right now we do just say, "Oh, I'll do this for free. I'll do this because I love doing it. I'll do this." And that's great. That's how you build a portfolio. But you can also build a portfolio by making your own body of work. You can build a portfolio by sitting in a closet and making samples and then putting that out there. Don't devalue your work and devalue the concept of the work by just saying that you'll do a project for like $20. And this happened to me recently, actually. I got a new client and they reached out and they were like, "Hey, I got 20 bucks and I got a gig for a commercial project that I'm doing. I got 20 bucks. I'd love your voice. I'd love to hire you." And I was like, no. So this would actually be worth $200 based on what you need, the word count. I don't usually do word count, but I have to with this one, based on the word count, based on what commercial rights you need, and based on the project itself. And I got on the line and explained, and in 10 minutes, the budget went from $20 to $200. Like, a lot of time, these clients have the money. They just don't have a concept of A, why it's worth what it's worth, or B, that it is costing what it costs. All you have to do is go through and educate a lot of these clients, and then you'll see their budget will magically come up to meet your rates. So don't undervalue because you think, oh, I need the $20. That's all that I'm going to get. No, state your rate. And then you always have the ability to go down from your rate. You always have the ability to go down from a high number, but you can never really come back to go up from a low number. Always keep that in mind when it comes to setting your rates and setting your intentions. Number two, or I guess next point, cold/warm reach out. We need to be cold contacting people a lot more, right? We need to be just reaching out to studios. Find studios that you want to work with. Find commercial studios, find animation studios, find video game studios. Make a list. Make a list of 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 of these studios that you want to work with. Get their email address, reach out and say, "Hey, I'm a voice actor looking for work. I love your stuff. I'd love to work with you. Here's my information. If you have any availabilities, I'd love to chat." That's all that it takes. And it's just a numbers game, right? A lot of time, you're not going to get a response. You're not going to get a response because maybe your email went to spam. Maybe they have no need. Maybe they're really crappy and terrible about emails. Maybe they put it aside and they're going to get back to it later. Maybe out of that 500, you get a response from 4. Right? You think, oh my God, that means that 496 people hated me. No, it means that it could have got lost. It's nothing personal. So don't take it personally. And that means you got 4 responses. You got 4 at bats to try and get a gig. Working with somebody who you like that might turn into a long term relationship. And that's what it's all about. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. A lot of the time, these people need something. They need an actor. They need a voice actor. They need something for the future, right? That's how I ended up getting a lot of my gigs. That's how I ended up getting or working with Russian comic book nerd on YouTube. And I did a Static Shock comic dub, and it was an absolutely amazing project. And he paid absolutely amazing rates. And it's just about cold contacting people and saying, "Hey, I'd love to work with you. If you have a need, I'd love to fill that need. Here's my information. Call me if you need me. If you want to reach me, it's okay." You know, it's that simple. Yes, it can seem intimidating, and yes, it can seem scary and terrifying to reach out to people because we all have a sense of not wanting to get rejected. We all have a deep seated need for acceptance. Um, but practice getting rejected. It's something that I need to do a lot more of. I need to practice getting rejected so that I understand it's nothing personal, so that I can actually reach the goals that I'm setting for myself and for my business and for the standard that I want. Now, relationship with the past clients, cold, warm reach outs, self creation, update your online apps, take classes, ask yours, stay on Twitter, stay on rate. That is all that I got for you today. That is the state of the industry. And those are a couple of tips that you can do in order to best stay on your feet as an actor. Keep in mind, this is a difficult industry to stay a part of. Nobody is arguing that this is easy. This is not an easy industry to be a part of. It's difficult to mesh business with creativity, and we feel like we need someone to give us a shot. But one of the things that I've learned over the past 3 months of travel is that you don't need someone to give you a shot. People are your peers, right? They have a need. They have a need that you have the skills to fill. You need to position yourself so that you're in the best light to be seen when they go out and look for someone to fill their need. You need to stay sharp enough so that you can fill their need while they are looking. You are the answer to the question. They are not the answer to your question. So stay sharp and make sure that when they go out a looking, you are prepared. Thank you guys so much again for joining on another episode of Artist Over Actor. Stay sharp, practice your artistry, and I will catch you in the next episode. Yep, we got this. Keep on going, keep on pushing. If you guys need any resources, actually, they are down in the description below. I have a bunch of free resources to help you become the best actor that you can be. Let's go out. Let's keep getting this bread. Let's keep our creative selves going. See you guys later. See you later, Kato. You be smooth, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.